The Mariners lost their starting pitcher after just 2 innings and experienced a really bad blow-up from one of their best relievers, and yet the Astros still couldn't beat them. Oops. Break out the Brooms, sailors, because we're going sweeping. Colby, hit it.
You are Locked On Mariners, your daily Seattle Mariners podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Ahoy, sailors. It is Sunday, August 20th, 2023. This is Trident Gonzalez and Colby Patnett for the Locked On Mariners postgame show brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Thank you so much for making us your first listen after the game. Subscribe, like, and turn on alerts if you're watching on YouTube, or subscribe and leave a 5-star review on your preferred podcast platform if you like what you hear. And if you're part of the crew and rock with us every single day, let us know in the comments below. And if you want to hear from us even more, please consider signing up for Colby and I's Patreon. You can now get a free 7-day trial to check out the show. The link, as well as our social accounts, is in the description of this episode. 7-6, the final score from Minute Maid Park. Mariners win a wild one to sweep the Astros. Another really good day for the offense, but the story in this one was the Mariners bullpen, which had to take on 7 innings of work after Emerson Hancock left the game with a right shoulder strain. Colby, your initial thoughts following the game?
Do I want to make a Kyle Gibson joke? No. Yeah, it really is a bummer, obviously, that Emerson left the game. The shoulder fatigue or whatever, that's not good. Obviously, you never want to hear forearm and you never want to hear shoulder. Those are the worst. So we'll see how serious of a thing that is. The Mariners will be adding Brian Wu back into the rotation, but it's possible their 6-man idea might be on hold, or it might just be Adam Aller or Tommy Malone instead of Hancock, but we'll wait and see. I haven't seen any reports from Scott post game yet, so a little tough to know how that's going to be long term. But yeah, it's tough. It's not something you can ever really plan for. And as tough as it is on Scott and his this coaching staff, it's pretty hard too for that bullpen just to flip a switch in the third inning, because at that point it was. At the point that they knew that they were going in, it was 4-0, and you're just
6-0.
Well, I mean, they knew that they were going into the game.
Oh yeah.
When they knew they had to get hot out of nowhere, it was still 4-0. So you're not like in the headspace really to get ready to go in and pitch in a game. So whoever was going to be first out of that pen is probably going to be a little bit difficult. And unfortunately, Saucedo, who's been so good for most of the year, he just got ambushed. Not only by the Astros, but also by the situation in general. So tough for him to go out there and kind of have to wear that. But, the rest of the bullpen, they stepped up in a huge way. And here's something that I'll say that might surprise some people. Mm-hmm. Huge credit to Scott Servais, because he nailed the management of this bullpen, because one of the things we've talked about with Scott in regards to Scott is that I don't think, and I think you probably agree with me, unless you want to be a troll here, we tend to think that Scott isn't necessarily the best at improv, right? When things don't go exactly to plan, he kind of struggles to pull the strings and get the plan back on track. I think that's fair to say. Today was a situation where, of course, it didn't go according to plan, and it was all improv, and you have a bullpen that is in better shape after the last few days, but still, it's not an immaculate shape. You have guys who you'd rather not use today, and you just kind of have to empty the chamber, so to speak. And Scott nailed it everywhere along the way. So, again, we don't want to overlook, credit has to go to Thornton, who got 5 outs, Brash got 4 outs, and then Campbell, Topa, Munoz, and Spire each got 3. But that's a really good job from Scott. He managed the match. He got the matchups he wanted with each guy. He knew when to take guys out. And when you look at 7 guys, or what is that? 7 guys having to cover. Is it 7?
Yeah, it's 7.
6.
Yeah. They didn't. The only guy that didn't get used was Bizardo,
right?
Yeah.
So when you look at that, you say, okay, well, somebody's going to be down tomorrow. But when you look at the pitch counts, maybe 1 or 2 of those guys are down, but nobody threw an extreme amount of pitches. I think the highest throw Topa threw 23. I think that was the most. So your bullpen's actually going to be in decent shape heading.
Brash also threw 23.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
your bullpen's going to be in decent shape because, again, Spire only threw 16, Munoz only threw 11. Even Thornton, who got 5 outs, only threw 20. So the bullpen did a really good job, and Scott knew exactly when to go get guys. He played the matchups perfectly, and he even made some I would claim them bold decisions, like going to Spire instead of Munoz, and
love that decision.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where it's like, had they stuck with Munoz, I totally would have gotten it. He's your guy. It's 4, 5, 6, 3, 4, 5. Like, I totally get that. But because you have 2 wins in the bag, you have them in the bank. You look at it and you say, Munoz only threw 11. I can have him tomorrow if I take him out of this game. Whereas if I keep him in this game, I'm eliminating him from tomorrow's game. And I'm going to go to Spire. I'm going to get that lefty on lefty matchup. And clearly the Mariners, I don't want to say they have something figured out with Yordan, but they've identified a hole in his swing that he has right this second, which I'm sure next time they play will be fixed because Yordan is an absolute freak. But, Spire came in and it was just fastball, 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 fastball. And Yordan never really got close. Like, he was late a lot on that pitch, and Spire comes in and shut the door. So huge credit to Scott Servais. He absolutely deserves, and, along with Woodworth and Acta, because again, this is everything that happens in a game from pitching decisions typically is pre-planned. And it's, if we get to this spot, we're going to this spot. You can't possibly plan for your starter coming out after 2 innings. And I don't have any complaints. I mean, like Saucedo look, Saucedo struggled. Again, he got kind of ambushed by the situation, but the rest of the bullpen, nails, absolutely nails. And credit to Scott for putting him in the right spots to do that.
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, Saucedo's a professional. He's got to be ready at any given moment, but that's a really, really tough spot to be thrust into. So I'm not going to hold that over his head too much. And he's obviously been, absolutely nails for the most part this year as well. So I'm sure he'll be able to bounce back. But yeah, I love this game from Scott Servais and company. I think this was one of their most well maneuvered games that I can remember. And really it does kind of all come down to that decision with the 9th inning and to bring in Spire over Munoz, because like you said, you got the 2 wins banked already. You already have the series in the bag. You get to save Munoz for tomorrow. And Spire's a better matchup than Munoz for Yordan, in my opinion. And I look, if that doesn't work out, then oh well, right? Like, I like the process. That's one of those decisions where I like the process. If it doesn't work out, then so be it. I'm cool with it. But yeah, so I love that because that's not something that we've seen Servais do. We've seen Servais kind of push the issue a lot and force Munoz to just kind of eat it, like, a couple of nights ago in Kansas City where he had to throw 42 pitches. And we've seen, him force Paul Sewald into 5 games out of 6 days. We've seen him force Matt Brash into 5 games out of 6 days. And this was very uncharacteristic. And again, you talked about how he's had some issues, and that crew in general have had some issues operating on the fly, but this was fantastic. This was perfect. So A+ across the board for Scott Servais and company. For me,
I don't like the bunt, but
whatever.
I'll
But
let that one slide today.
bullpen management is A++++. Yeah.
I mean, like, there's not even anything to nitpick because everything just it made sense, right? Like, even if the result would have been bad, the process is still correct, right?
Yeah.
And when it comes to a manager, that's really the only thing I care about, because the manager doesn't have control over the results. All he can do is put his guys in the best position to succeed. And Scott, I think, did his absolute best job of the season today in that regard. So he absolutely deserves credit. So does Acta. So does, that entire coaching staff, Woodworth, Voke in the bullpen, like everybody gets an A, and that's fantastic. And you're kind of playing with a shorter bench today too. I don't think Caballero was actually available. His leg swelled up pretty good last night, I guess. So I think that it was a very job well done from Scott. But obviously, first and foremost, the guys coming out of the pen who all did their job and then some, with the exception of Saucedo, who, again, just a rough situation, and he just didn't have it. And that's going to happen. So,
yeah, real quick. And I don't want to make this show about this, but Framber Valdez should be suspended. He intentionally threw at Jose Caballero and he hurt him in the process. That's just not cool. That shouldn't fly. I know Major League Baseball is not going to do anything about it, but they should, in my opinion. So anyway, all right, let's talk about this offense, which had another really good day. I mean, they had a couple of missed opportunities, but still they dropped 7, especially against a tough pitcher in Hunter Brown. So a really, really nice afternoon for the Mariners offensively. So we'll go over that in just a moment. But first, a reminder, this episode of the Locked On Mariners postgame show is brought to you by Game Time. Buying tickets to your favorite events shouldn't be stressful. Game Time is a fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater near you. And with killer deals on last-minute tickets and their best price guarantee, you can stop stressing over the tickets and start getting hyped for the fun you'll have. So forget planning months in advance. Game Time has deals on tickets right up to the day of the event. Snag the tickets without the stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. And you're listening to the Locked On Mariners postgame show. Thank you again for making us your first listen after the Mariners 7-6 victory over the Houston Astros as they sweep. They are now within a half game of the Astros and the standings. And I believe, let me check real quick. Yeah, the Brewers now have a 6-1 lead over the Texas Rangers as we're recording this in the top of the 8th. So the Mariners are 6 outs away from being 3 games back of the division lead. So don't look now, but things are getting interesting. Also, I want to remind you guys, as the Mariners are chasing down the Astros in the standings, we're also chasing down Locked On Astros as the most subscribed to Locked On MLB YouTube channel. I think we're now about 200 away. You guys really killed it yesterday. I think we got 100 plus subscribers yesterday when I asked you guys about this. So I'm going to ask you again, please hit the subscribe button down below our faces. It really, really helps. All right. So Julio, unfortunately, was not able to make MLB history with 5 straight 4-hit games. But he gave his powers to Dom Canzone and Dylan Moore, apparently, because both of those guys went 4 for 5 today. Demo did it with all singles. Now, one of those was the infield pop-up that Alex Bregman allowed to fall to the carpet. But, whatever. We'll take it. 4-hit day for Demo. And then Dom Canzone had a great day. A couple of doubles, 3 hard-hit balls in total. So your thoughts on this offense, Colby?
Well, let's start with Julio. No, I'm joking. No. Julio's still able to contribute today. He had some rough at bats. There's no denying that. But the dude just post. I mean, I honestly after the first hit, I was like, oh, he's gonna do it again. Oh my god.
Yeah. I thought he was insane. I thought he was gonna do it today. Yeah.
But whatever. Kind of back. Julio visits planet Earth for the first time in like 4 or 5 days. That's fine.
It's over. Yeah. Julio Rodriguez.
Yeah, see, he said that, not me.
Right.
Notice who said that.
Right.
Okay. But no, it was interesting. Before the game, you look at the lineups and you kind of expect it on Sundays because Murphy's not in the lineup. He's been such a huge. So you're going to have O'Keefe. That probably going to have Mike Ford in there. For some reason, over like Cade Marlowe, who's actually earned the at bats and all. And you just you look at that 5 through 9, and I go like, this is a heat check game, like because that 5 through 9, you got Rojas hitting like 7, like. It's not looking great. And honestly, Canzone, he's flashed here and there, but he has not been that impressive since coming over from Arizona, at least not to my eye. So you're kind of sitting there looking like, and I said as much like, 1 through 4 is going to have to like carry today. They're going to have to do some work. And actually, no, it was 5 through 9 who carried today, and 1 through 5 chipped in. Obviously Julio scored a run, big double in the first, kind of get things going. Gino, big home run. So they definitely contributed, but Ty, I think you have the numbers there in front of you.
It was
the bottom of the lineup who carried the Mariners to another victory today.
Yeah. So the 1 through 4, that's Julio, that's Gino, that's Ty, and that's Teo. They went 3 for 19, 1 walk, 10 strikeouts, home run, a double, 2 ribs. 5 through 9, however, went 12 for 23, just 4 strikeouts, 2 of those being Cal Raleigh, who pinch hit for Brian O'Keefe, 2 walks, 4 RBI. And by the way, shout out to friend of the show, Brian O'Keefe, with a clutch 2-run double to make it 6-0 in the top of the 3rd. He also had a big walk that loaded the bases. Unfortunately, the Mariners weren't able to convert, but we won't talk about that. But yeah, just a great day for the bottom of the Mariners lineup. Awesome. It's always great when you get contributions out of unlikely places. And like you said, it was definitely a heat check game. But this offense, man, has been cooking without JP Crawford. It's been pretty remarkable to see, and now they're going to get JP tomorrow, which is awesome. He posted on his Instagram about an hour ago that he's on a flight to Chicago. So this offense is going to get even better here, at least theoretically, with adding JP back to the mix. They're in a great spot right now. They're in a complete opposite spot to the Astros, who, by the way, Colby, I don't know if you saw this. Chandler, is it Chandler Rome? Yeah, Chandler Rome. The Astros beat writer at The Athletic said that, quote, Martin Maldonado called this sweep a slap in the face. The Astros had a team meeting after the game, Maldonado said. He spoke along with a couple other guys. The Mariners, once again, I said it last night, but once again, the Mariners snatched the soul out of the Houston Astros in this series. And I mean, you could see it, right? I mean, Jose Altuve, I have never seen a guy of that caliber look more absent-minded during a game and during a series, really, than Jose Altuve did this weekend. I mean, is he okay? Like, what's going on there?
I mean, if he's not, and he still went like 7 for 16 in the series or whatever, then good for him. But yeah, there were some questionable decisions. But I do enjoy the quote from Maldonado. So if you would allow me, Ty, I would like to quote from the great poet, Jason Segel, who wrote a little ditty that I'm not going to sing, but for Martine, what is this feeling that's put you in your place? A red hot burning on the side of your face. You feel the blood rush to your cheek, tears start to fill your eyes. Your lips are trembling, but you can't speak. You're trying not to cry. You just got slapped. Across the face, my friend. You just got slapped. Yes, that really just happened.
Yeah.
Everybody saw it, and everybody laughed and clapped. It was awesome, the way that you just got slapped. See you in September, loser.
Let's see some claps in the chat below for
snaps,
or snaps. Yeah. Let's see some snaps in the chat below. Yeah, man. This has been incredible content. Truly just loving every single moment of this, just soaking it all in. The Mariners are 8-2 against the Houston Astros this year, man. Like, and I do wonder, back to Altuve real quick. I mean, Kyle Tucker has been dealing with an illness. I kind of wonder if maybe there's a bug going around the dugout or the clubhouse, rather.
Possibly.
Someone on Twitter, I couldn't verify this myself, but someone on Twitter said that Altuve was drinking Pedialyte in the dugout. Maybe he's hungover after the 2,000 hits last night, or
possible.
Possible.
Maybe he's just fighting the same flu bug that Tucker is, and that's one of those things. Like, we don't know what's happening inside a clubhouse. Like, whenever, like, is this guy? Why didn't they pinch hit this guy for this guy? It's like, well, maybe that guy's sick. Maybe that guy has stomach issues. Maybe that guy, has like has something in his neck because he slept wrong. And it's just like, we don't know. These guys are humans, right? They still go through pains and ailments and all that stuff. So you never really know. But that was such a weird series from Altuve, because at the plate, he was good. Like, he was good at the plate.
Yeah.
Everywhere else, he was questionable, like, at best. So that was
like today. He clearly thought there were 3 outs when he stepped on second, like, because he didn't even look at first. Like, maybe he doesn't have a play there, but he doesn't even look at first to try and turn that double play, and then the Mariners end up scoring. I think that was before the O'Keefe double, right?
Right, and then there's the pop up that he makes the nice over the shoulder catch on, and he turns around and fires home, even though nobody was on third.
Yep, he strikes out on a clock violation. Yeah,
it's a big strikeout too.
Yeah, huge, because Bregman tripled right after. So if Altuve got on base, that would have tied the game there. Man, it was all kind of a perfect storm for the Mariners, and again, they just snatched the soul out of this team. So see them in September. We'll see if anything changes there. But like I said on the show yesterday, I think the Mariners have shown, they've proven over the course of this weekend that they are definitively a better team than the Houston Astros, and the standings are going to start reflecting that soon, I would guess.
Right. And, one other thing to keep in mind here, it's a very tight race. Assuming Milwaukee doesn't blow a 5-run lead, the division is very much in hand. Like it's very much a possibility, especially since you still have 7 games against Texas. But again, right now, Houston, Seattle, and Toronto are all separated by 1 game. Houston's up a half a game on Seattle. Seattle's up half a game on Toronto. Seattle will have the tiebreaker against both of those teams.
Mm-hmm.
So in reality, again, Toronto can't just catch the Mariners and get in. They have to pass the Mariners to get in.
Yeah.
Seattle likewise they don't have to pass the Astros. They just have to catch them. If they have the same record at the end of the year, the Mariners are getting in over the Astros, regardless of the seed. So just something to keep in mind here. The Mariners don't have the tiebreaker against a lot of teams that were in this wild card race. They didn't have it against the Yankees. They didn't have it against Cleveland, but they have it against Toronto. They have it against Houston, which right now are the only 2 threats to you. And then Boston is playing some good ball right now. They're hanging around, so you can't discount them. But that it was a season split, and the Mariners are running away with the intra-division record because of their sweeps recently of the Astros and the Angels. So just something to keep in mind as we, it looks like this thing is going to get determined by just 1 or 2 games down the stretch. And hopefully that goes in the Mariners' favor, but still, I don't want to say there's a lot of baseball left to be played, because there's really not, but it's not like there's
a lot can
left.
still happen. We still got about 6 weeks. We still got about 6 weeks worth of ball here. So a lot can happen. Also, Mariners have the current advantage in the Rays season series, but obviously 4 more games to go in that season series, so that can change. But for now, they have the advantage there, and they just need to win 2 more games in that series to have the tiebreaker over them as well, which may or may not play a factor here. I mean, the Rays still have a lot of wins banked right now, even though that they're really beat up. And obviously, there's the whole, that situation at shortstop. Yeah. So, but we'll see. I mean, the Mariners are in a really, really good spot right now, just standings wise. I mean, obviously the offense is in a great spot. The pitching is weathering the storm right now, like it did today. I'm so impressed with this ball club. And going back to what this offense did, in Canzone and more with the pair of 4-hit games. I mean, that's 8 4-hit games now on this road trip. We got Julio's 4, we've got Teo, we've got Canzone, we've got Moore, and I think France had 1 in KC, if I'm not mistaken.
I think he did. Yeah.
I think so. Correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments. I know you guys love to do that. So, but the Mariners at the very least have 7, possibly 8 4-hit games on this road trip, and they still got 3 more games to go in Chicago. And obviously, they're getting JP Crawford back. Let's talk about that in a second. But first, you're listening to the Locked On Mariners podcast. Thank you again for making us your first listen after the Mariners' 7-6 victory over the Houston Astros, securing a sweep over the Astros. And again, they're going to Chicago starting tomorrow for a 3-game set. You can catch all the action on the Mariners' hometown broadcast with SiriusXM via the SXM app. So that's what's next here, Colby. 3 games against the White Sox. This has been historically a tough place for the Mariners to play. They have had quite a bit of success, especially as of late, but it's always tough game, always kind of weird in Chicago. And bullpen, they managed it really well. Again, like some of these guys that pitched today probably should be available tomorrow, but they could still really use 7+ out of Castillo tomorrow, right?
Yeah, and Luis was able to do that in Kansas City when they needed him to. The overall numbers weren't very good. Neither was Luis, but he kind of managed it, bulldogged his way into some depth that the Mariners really needed. So hopefully he can do it again. The White Sox series is going to be pretty similar to the Royals series, just in terms of like you're facing a bad team, the ballpark's going to be dead, like you're not facing world beaters on the mound. Like you have to kind of create your own energy. Good news is you're going to avoid Dylan Cease And so the pitching matchups again will absolutely favor you. The one thing you do have to protect against is that you do have that off day coming on Thursday. You've already won 6 games on this road trip, which is kind of the number that we said was the goal, and anything over that was a bonus. So you don't want to get to you don't want to split these first 2 games and get to the afternoon game and then just kind of feel like you can just pack it in because you've done enough. You have to keep the intensity up. You're not clear in any kind of playoff spot right now. So, I think, again, expecting a sweep of any team is frankly ridiculous. But I think when it comes to Chicago, you got to find a way to win 2 of 3. And it would really behoove you to win tomorrow's game, because then if Tuesday's game is kind of, a gray area, you can maybe take a few more chances knowing that you've already pocketed a win. So I hope Luis can give him some innings. It'll be nice to have JP back in the lineup. I think we should give some credit to Caballero and Dylan Moore. They pretty much replaced JP's offense 1-for-1. I mean, they were both really good. Specifically Caballero. It'll be nice to have JP back playing shortstop, though. So, obviously, the Mariners getting healthier. They'll add Wu on Tuesday, I think is what it sounds like. He'll make that start.
That would make the most sense, yeah.
Yeah. So, the Mariners are getting healthier. They're adding, their all-star quality shortstop. They're adding number 4, number 5 starter at least back to the rotation. And the bullpen is not in terrible shape despite having to cover 7 innings today. So you're in a good spot. You just have to keep playing well, and you're going to lose a game here and there. Like, that's going to happen. You're not going to win, 28 of your next 34 to wrap this thing up, maybe. But we'll see.
Put it past them way that they're playing right now.
I wouldn't be opposed to it. I'm just saying. It seems unlikely. So you just have to keep playing good ball, man. Like, again, you have to create your own energy. Chicago, I don't think is quite as dangerous as even Kansas City. Because Kansas City's just on a heater right now in terms of their offense, but you still have to deal with Eloy. I don't know if he's died again or not.
He got hurt during the Jose Ramirez, Tim Anderson thing. I don't know if anything came of that though, because I'm not paying attention to the White Sox. I'm sorry, but I'm not paying attention.
I'm pretty sure Anderson's going to miss the first 2 games of the series.
Yes,
I don't think that really hurts you that much, to be honest.
No,
with the way it doesn't help you much, not with the way Anderson's playing. But I mean, obviously you still have Robert. You still have some guys in that lineup who can hit. I mean, Gavin Sheets is a dangerous hitter, but no Jake Berger, obviously no Giolito, no Lynn, no Bummer. Wait, did they traded Bummer, right?
I can't remember. I don't know.
Graveman. They traded Graveman, Kelly, I think.
Yeah, they traded Kelly to the Dodgers. Yeah.
Right. So this is a team that's not even as talented as the last time you saw them. So you definitely want to take advantage. You want to win 2 out of 3. And I think if you do that, you just had like an A+ road trip. It's already pretty good. Just don't let up. Don't walk out of Chicago like, oh, somehow we lost 3 in a row. You have to keep playing well. You have to keep putting pressure and earn that off day on Thursday. And then you can go into a homestand and hopefully keep that momentum going.
Well, and how about this, right? You go on an 8-game win streak, you lose 3 in a row, and then right back on the horse, 6-game win streak.
Yeah.
Awesome. And there's a very real path here to making that 9 and making that even more because, again, look, I don't want to get too much into the whole, like, this is the easiest part of your schedule because you never know. But on paper, I mean, the Mariners can do a lot of damage here, and hopefully they take as much advantage of that as they possibly can. So, but at the end of the day, just keep on winning series. That's all you got to do. Just keep on winning series and you're going to be able to get to where you want to go. So,
right. By the way, I don't know how you've been like managing all these what I like to do until about September is I look at, say, what's the win total I think that my team needs to get to make the playoffs instead of trying to worry about Boston and Toronto and Houston and like all these other scores. So my number has been 90 for a while now. I think 90 gets you in this year. The Mariners to win 90 games would have to go 21-17 the rest of the way. That's doable. Very doable, especially with the way you play. You just have to be 4 games over 500.
Yeah. And obviously the schedule is going to get pretty tough in September. You got a series against the Dodgers. You got a series against the Rays. You got a series against the Reds. Again, you don't want to assume either direction with the schedule, right? Because you never know what the actual context of those series is going to be until you get to that point. You don't know who's going to be out. You don't know what the pitching matchups are going to look like, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But again, on paper, got some tough matchups: Reds, Dodgers, Rays. A couple of series against the Rangers. You got another one against the Astros. But at least I feel like you've created yourself some buffer here, some room for error, some room for, a bad series. Because look, the Mariners are going to have a bad series. That's just the reality of it. That's baseball, right? It's still going to happen. There's still going to be a moment probably in September where we think, they might choke this away. But then, kind of like the Kansas City. Yeah, kind of like the Kansas City series last year, right? Yeah. But, I think things will work themselves out at the end of the day.
Yeah. So we'll see. The nice little twist of this year so far is that you're actually still in it with the division too. So there's more than one path to the playoffs for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, it all comes down to playing well. And we talk about the schedule and all that stuff, but hey, we thought Kansas City was the easy one. And then it's like, don't get swept in Houston and then take care of business. And it turns out the Mariners played significantly better against Houston than they did Kansas City.
I felt nowhere near as stressed out by this series as I did the Kansas City series.
Even when it was 2-0, like in the ninth
and
inning
I'm
game
sure
one,
probably part of that is because the Royals are just bad, right? So it's like don't lose.
Yeah, so if you
series.
lose to the Astros, you're like, the Astros are
whatever.
good.
It's the Astros. Yeah. By the way, the Brewers are trying to give this game back to the Rangers. It's 2 outs, runners on the corners, 6-2 now, and Devin Williams is coming in to hopefully put out the fire.
Yeah,
so
Nathaniel Lowe up at the plate. Or Lau. He's a Low, right?
It's Lowe. Yeah. Brandon Lau is the only Lau.
See, I would try to remember that as like Tampa has the Lau, but Tampa also has the other Low.
Yeah.
So
and Nathaniel Lowe was also a Ray at one point, like
for a moment. Yeah.
So. Yeah.
Whatever. Either way, good vibes all around. Mariners keep on winning games.
That's right. Oh, by the way, I want to give a quick shout out to Dave Sims, who didn't even try to pretend to be not biased during the broadcast today. He's just calling guys Gino and Teo, and I love that Astros fans had to sit through that for all 9 innings today. Awesome. Just mwah.
Well, the other guy was, besides Roland Smith, he was the Astros play-by-play guy, right? Or like,
oh, is he?
I thought he was. But yeah, it was still 2-1 Mariners in the booth and all that stuff. And it was like, why do you want the guy to try to? I don't get that. I really don't. So
Simsy didn't even really get excited like when the Astros scored. Like it was
like,
really funny.
6-5 Mariners. Whatever. Dylan Moore with the best hit of all time. Like, all right, well,
Yeah.
But no, it was a fun series. Like lots of fun stuff. The Peacock broadcast is awful though. Like, let's just throw that out there. The number of times that like they would go to a replay and then they like cut back to the game like as the hitter was swinging the bat. Like,
oh, the worst one was the live umpire cam. I can't see the ball.
No, well, that sucked too because like you show
also
us
that camera is terrible quality, by the way,
right.
Like terrible.
But by the way, Brewers win. So
3 back, baby.
But yeah, that one was awful because they would show that live instead. Like that's a replay camera.
That's a replay camera. Yeah, absolutely.
You show that, like you put that on your YouTube channel afterwards. You're like, oh,
NFL broadcasts don't show you the pylon cam during live footage. Like
it's like, oh yeah, we're at first and goal at the 1. Let's go to the pylon cam for the best view. Like, no, show us from the center field camera, and then if you want to be like, oh, what do you think? Is that a ball or a strike? Then you go to the umpire cam. This is what the umpire is seeing. Like it's a supplemental camera. It should be being used like when there's action on the field. Yeah. But whatever.
That wasn't great.
No, but
I like the graphics. I like the graphics of the like the score.
They totally borrowed them from Root. Like
sure, yeah.
Like the exit velos and the that hit outline ballpark outlines or whatever, like those are Root.
I think that's just the StatCast thing though.
Yeah, it probably is.
I think that's just like the standard StatCast thing. But yeah, like I like that aspect of the production, but yeah, the overall broadcast wasn't great. And also just like, why are we making this less accessible for fans in general? Like I had multiple people tell me on Twitter today that they had to pay like $6 just to watch the game today. Like, come on, what are we doing?
Right, these are like two of the best teams in baseball.
Yeah.
And you're going to stick them on a second tier streaming app.
Because at the very least with Apple TV, right? Like you can still use it for free. Like you don't have to be an Apple TV subscriber to use it, right? But I think with Peacock, you had to be, as far as I'm aware. I living in Canada, I just still watch it on MLB TV. Like it just because we don't have Peacock here, so it just shows the broadcast on MLB TV. But yeah.
I would just, I know we're running late here, so we'll wrap it up. I mean, still, we'll wrap it up. We're out of stuff to say anyways.
Yeah.
And now I'm vamping because I forgot what I was going to say.
Sure. Good one. Oh, you got it? Nope. No, you lost it.
Just completely lost it.
That's going to do it for us then. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Locked On Mariners post-game show. Wow, now I'm messing up. You're giving me the yips now. For Colby Patnode, I'm Trident Gonzalez. Be sure to give us a follow on Twitter at LO_Mariners. You can follow me at Dane Gonzalez. That's DANEGNZLZ, and Colby at CPAT11. That's CPAT11. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok as well over at Locked On Mariners. That's one word, Locked On Mariners. You can also find all that stuff in the description of this episode. And again, because I forgot to say this earlier on in the show, I have to say it twice. You can catch the Mariners and the White Sox starting tomorrow on the Mariners Hometown broadcast with SiriusXM via the SXM app. And again, you can catch the Mariners and the White Sox on the Mariners Hometown broadcast with SiriusXM via the SXM app. Thank you again for making us your first listen after the Mariners 7-6 victory over the Houston Astros. Have yourself a beautiful baseball day, and we'll see you next time. Peace. 20 great ending by us. 20 great.
Mostly you.
Yeah.